Decimals subtracting. Decimals subtracting single digit. Again, you'll see that I have it written left to right and top to bottom, and here again on the board. We're going to start on the right and head towards the left. We have our decimals beautifully lined up, as you will for all addition and subtraction of decimals. 5 minus 3 is 2. The decimal is beautifully lined up, and 0 minus 0 is 0. Decimals subtracting multiple digits. Again, you'll see we have the problem written out left to right and top to bottom, and here again on the board. As always, with adding and subtracting of decimals, the decimal points have to be beautifully lined up. We're subtracting 7 minus 1, which is 6. The decimal is still beautifully lined up. 5 minus 4 is 1, and 3 minus 2 is 1. Decimals subtracting single digit with borrowing. Again, we have the problem written left to right and top to bottom, and here again on the whiteboard. You'll notice that when I wrote it top to bottom, I again put this 0 in here, so the numbers line up beautifully, as do the decimal points, which are important anytime that we're adding or subtracting decimals. So many students will incorrectly do 3 minus 0. They'll subtract going upwards because they don't want to borrow. We're going to have to borrow. So we'll have to go to the next column over to the left and take it down by 1. So 5 becomes 4, and that single 10 breaks up into 10 units. I'm just going to put a little 1 there, so it has a 1 0, which says 10. Some students will cross it out and write a small little number 10 above that. 10 minus 3 is 7. 4 minus 0 is 4. Decimal points beautifully lined up. 0 minus 0 is 0. Something to think about. If you look at this using money, 50 cents minus 3 cents will give you 47 cents. Often, when working with decimals, it's a good idea to think about money. Decimals subtracting multiple digits with borrowing. As usual, I have the problem written left to right, top to bottom, and here on the whiteboard. You'll notice again that since the decimals do not line up, I had to put a 0 here to make sure that the right-hand side after the decimal lines up beautifully, the decimal points line up beautifully. This is important anytime that you're adding or subtracting decimal numbers. So 0 minus 1, many students will accidentally do 1 minus 0 because they don't want to borrow. We'll have to go over to the next column, borrow from here, so 2 becomes 1, and that 1 in the tens columns becomes 10 little hundredths. Now 10 minus 1 gives you 9. 1 minus 4, the top number is too small. We'll have to borrow from the next column over. This becomes 0, and this becomes 11. 11 minus 4. Decimal points beautifully lined up. 0 minus 2 doesn't work. Now, you could think 30 minus 2 and get 28. But we're working on borrowing, so we're going to borrow. 10 minus 2 is 8. And the 2 comes down, hey, 30 minus 2 is 28. And if we did the borrowing, it still comes out with 28. Fascinating.